If you're buying businesses but don't have a plan of what to do after you buy the business, this video is for you. What I've seen is there's a lot of people out there that are acquiring small businesses and they find the right business, the right team, the right profitability, but they don't have the right plan after they acquire the business. And that's where my team at Scale with Pros comes in. We know how to come in and integrate that business and get it up and performing without making the mistakes that are going to cost you literally hundreds of thousands or potentially millions of dollars. Really, this is just the behind the scenes, a presentation where I'm talking about one of the companies I acquired last year that was doing, about 1.9 million a year in revenue. And within 8 months, we've grown it to about 2.7 million a year run rate. And we increased the net profit from under 5% to over 16% within 8 months. And so I'm going to show you the 3-step system, talking you through exactly how you can do the same thing.
When we're coming in and buying a business, this is after the due diligence. This is like after all of the finance stuff has been figured out. This is like, okay, now we're closing on the deal. What the heck do we do now? So our first step is we're going to actually come in and we're going to audit and evaluate essentially everything. And what is everything? Well, everything are the major core functions of a business. I look at every business like a conveyor belt. And so every business has marketing. And I look at this as the top chute on the conveyor belt. So there's marketing on the front end, because if there's no leads, there's no marketing, there's no business. The marketing funnels down the leads. Then there's sales, the conversion event that causes us to be able to sell the widgets, sell the service, and move the things down the conveyor belt. And that's where, operations comes in, fulfillment. It's like, okay, we promised a thing, then got the person to give us money for our promise. And now we have to fulfill on the thing, whether it's the service or fulfill on the product or good that we just promised them in marketing and sales. And then we have under the conveyor belt is like the finance and, kind of like HR people stuff. When we're looking at a business, and when we come in after we buy it, we're going through and we're auditing all of these core areas of the business. We want to know the good, we want to know the bad, we want to know the ugly, we want to know what's in place, what's not in place, what's historically worked well when we're coming in. And part of that process is becoming friends and building bridges and relationships with the team that's already in place when you come into the business. There's no quicker way to burn bridges than coming in and pretend that you know more than everyone that's been in that business for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years working for that company. And you will have a hell of a time getting them to do anything that you want them to do if you do not give them that respect and that love when you're coming in. Like, we're coming to them and asking them, like, what do you like about working here? What are the things that you wish were better? What are the things that you used to tell the old owner that should be changed here that never got changed? My goal here is to make your life easier, better, more efficient, and to be able to help you grow and become whatever you want to become working at this company. No better place to come from just like pure fourth grader curiosity of like, why do we, what's that? Why do we do it that way? Like, that's the energy and the place that we come into these businesses. Because for anyone that, has anyone been in a business that's been sold before to another company? Is it not scary when that happens? And like, there's a lot of uncertainty. That's what people are feeling when you're coming in. They're like, transfer of ownership, new person's here. Are they going to just come in and clean slate and fire everybody? Or like, what are they about? And so that's, as we're going through this, we do this with gloves and care. We want to, really like, hey, we're not doing this because we're trying to come in and start micromanaging you. We just want to make your life better here. And we just want to build, we want to make things better in the ways that you see that could be better here, because you've seen it day by day for years. So that's how we begin, as the audit stage. And then we go into implementation. When we're coming in, we have a list like this of like, here's the 70 things that we want to do. Well, now how do we best understand what we need to do first? It's going to make the biggest difference now. That's where it comes into, we call this our impact effort calculator tool. How we do our scoring is on essentially a scale of 1 to 5 of impact. And we have like questions that we can ask ourselves of like how much of an impact for the business it might make on, 1 being super low impact, 5 being high impact. For me, high impact is like high revenue, like a thing that's going to really drive revenue either up or it's going to decrease expenses. So like those are like how I weigh higher impact. And then on the effort scoring, we kind of blend a few things together where on a 1, it might be a single person can just go and do the thing and make the change this week. versus it's a 5 where it's like we need like literally 3 departments to be bought into like a new CRM system. We need to build out an entire CRM, train everyone on the CRM, and then we need to get them to use the damn thing and not just not use it and use paper. That's a higher effort thing. It's high impact, but it's also higher effort because we need buy-in from multiple people. We need, multiple people to learn that may be technology adverse. Like everyone's tried to train like, a grandmother or great grandmother or grandfather on like using technology. And it's just like, sometimes the most simplest things are like, just click there on the thing. And like, you have like the hardest time. Like everyone's experienced that with someone they're trying to help with technology. So like when you have technology adverse teams, that's why it's high. We identify highest impact, lowest effort to implement. And then we kind of organize, it's just all in a Google sheet, not some fancy thing. It's just literally a Google sheet. And we just organize now based on the highest rating impact, lowest effort. And then we start assigning out who in the company is going to own and by when those things are going to get executed on. And that's how we begin taking those steps to actually start implementing those things. So we do that audit to uncover everything. Then we begin with prioritizing what are the things that are going to make the biggest difference, and then we begin starting that process from there. That's how we go through some of the implementation stage. Really, in that first week, we try to just go through this as much as possible so we can then start actually executing. Then we go into more of like optimization and empowerment. Obviously, if some of you are here and you're like, I want to run the business and be like the CEO of the business, like that's totally fine and you could do that. For me and our business strategy is like, I don't want to be on the org chart for any companies besides like my business consulting company. I don't want to be in any day-to-day stuff. I want to be off the org chart and controlling and managing the org chart. So like that's our goal, is optimizing and empowering team members or other partners that can run and facilitate day-to-day functions of the business. I want to be able to be on a deserted island anywhere in the world and be able to look at a scorecard and know if a business is healthy or not healthy. I don't want to have to message all my team and be like, how are things going? I want to be able to look at a scorecard and know how things are going. And so that's where, we start implementing like meeting cadences into the business. If anyone's heard of EOS, Gino Wickman's traction book, we use like 15% traction, and then some of our own models and methods that we've taken. It's all of the major functions in the business. Marketing, sales, operations, finance. Those are the 4 things that we have the most important KPIs, key performance indicators for each of those departments that we're paying attention to and that we're wanting to look at. And if you can't go to a deserted island and look at your scorecard and know with certainty that your business is healthy or unhealthy, you're not tracking the right things. That's the only way transparently that I could actually oversee multiple businesses, because I could just like pop open a scorecard and see how last week went, and then be able to message the person that's over that department and like check in and see like, what's how can I help? How can I fix this constraint? Like what's going on? How are we addressing this? Like if I need to do that. Sometimes companies have a few of these things in place and we just kind of like hone them in. Again, it's the optimization and empowering the department heads. It's pretty dummy proof to use Google Sheets. So we just build the scorecards in Google Sheets. We put the main KPIs for each department, what the KPI is. My thing is like, if there's 2 people that are accountable to feed the dog starves. So one person owns that KPI. And that's the person that's going to make sure that data gets on the scorecard. Then we have like a target. So when we're looking at it each week, well, are we on track with our target for that week, or are we not on track? If we're on track, awesome. If we're not, let's discuss why. How do we help? How do we help fix this? What do we do to get it back on track? As part of our implementation, like regardless of like anything that we uncover, we always do this 100% of the time. We want to build the company scorecard so we know what the heck's going on, and we implement our meeting cadences because we know that it's just what works. At the beginning of a meeting, we do personal professional wins, all of the leadership on there. After we do personal professional wins, we look at scorecard. We look at the data. Whoever is accountable for their data calls out their data on the scorecard. If they're off target, it gets moved to a section at the end of the meeting called IDS, which is just issues, discuss, solve. If their targets are off, it gets pushed to later in the meeting to discuss why, how can we help, what can we do to fix that. Then we go into like our quarterly goals that we have for the company. Are we on track for those? Are we off track for those? customer employee headlines, like what customers can we celebrate or what team member problems do we have this week? Let's talk about those real quick. We look at last week's to-dos. Hey, the scorecard stuff that was off last week, we had John was supposed to fix this. Did it get fixed? It did. Great job, John. Or it didn't. What the heck? Like, what can we do to get that done this week? Then we go to the IDS section of, all right, all of our company leadership problems and things that are not working, let's discuss as a team interdepartmentally, how do we address those? How do we fix those together? Then at the end of the meeting, rate the meeting, scale of 1 to 10, how well it went. If it wasn't a 10, what would we have had to have done to make it a 10? So that's like our meeting cadence and how we look at the scorecard and actually use the scorecard. I like to look at like your leadership level scorecard is like when your check engine light comes on in your car. Like when that comes on, you don't necessarily know what's wrong. You just know something is wrong. So you need to pop the hood and like look deeper and see like what's actually going on. So like on your scorecard, it's like, oh, leads are down this week. Okay, well, let's like have the team go pop the hood on leads and see, oh, well, our marketing spend is lower than it has been, so that's why. Or, oh, we popped the hood and, if we're doing cold calling, we only had 1 cold caller when we've usually had 3, so that's why leads are down. So it's like your scorecard is to, deserted island test, and it's your check engine light in your each department. So like you need to look deeper.
And there you have it, guys. Those are the 3 steps that we follow every single time, whether we're coming in to consult with a business or whether, it's a business that I'm acquiring. If you want access to any of the resources that my team, myself uses when we go into acquire companies and help them scale, you could actually get those in the link in the description below. We literally give away all of our templates from operations, finance, our people, process, systems, all of that. Take it, download it, use it in your business. And if you need help, whether you're acquiring a business or you're just sitting there scratching your head about, man, I'm struggling to continue to scale my business, what you should do is click the link in the description below, book a call, talk with my team, and we can talk through what it looks like to take your business from point A to point B and where you're trying to go. So with that being said, we'll see you in the next video.